Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about executing a Gatling scenario exactly once. If you're working in the field of performance testing or load testing, you might have encountered scenarios where you need to execute a specific test case only one time, without repeating it multiple times. This is particularly useful when you want to test the initial response of your system under load. Executing a Gatling scenario exactly once can be a bit tricky, but don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to achieve this. In this video, we'll break down the concepts involved in executing a Gatling scenario and provide a step-by-step explanation of how to do it. So, let's dive into the world of Gatling scenarios. A Gatling scenario is essentially a simulation of real user behavior on your application or system. It allows you to test how your system responds under various loads, stress conditions, and usage patterns. When you execute a Gatling scenario, it generates virtual users that interact with your system, simulating the actions of real users. Now, when we talk about executing a Gatling scenario exactly once, what we mean is that we want to run this simulation only one time, without repeating it multiple times. This can be useful in scenarios where you're testing the initial response of your system under load, or when you're trying to identify any bottlenecks or performance issues during the first few seconds of a user's interaction. To achieve this, you need to understand how Gatling handles simulation iteration. By default, Gatling will repeat the simulation multiple times, based on the configuration parameters set in your scenario file. However, there is a way to override this behavior and execute the scenario only once. Here's where things get interesting. To execute a Gatling scenario exactly once, you need to configure your scenario to use a specific type of injection protocol, known as a taunts. This protocol tells Gatling to inject all users at once, without any delay or pacing. By using this protocol, you ensure that the simulation is executed only one time, without repeating it multiple times. Let's take an example to illustrate this concept better. Suppose we have a simple Gatling scenario that simulates 100 virtual users logging into our application simultaneously. We want to test how our system responds under this load, but we're only interested in the initial response, not the subsequent responses after repeated simulation. In this case, we would configure our scenario to use the taunts protocol and set the number of iterations to 1. This tells Gatling to inject all 100 users at once and execute the simulation only one time, without repeating it multiple times. By doing so, we're able to test the initial response of our system under load exactly once. So, what are the from this discussion first? Executing a Gatling scenario exactly once requires you to configure your scenario to use the taunts protocol. Second, by using this protocol, you ensure that the simulation is executed only one time, without repeating it multiple times. Finally, this approach allows you to test the initial response of your system under load exactly once. That's all for today's video. If you've made it this far, congratulations! You now have a clear understanding of how to execute a Gatling scenario exactly once. Remember, executing a Gatling scenario exactly once is particularly useful when you want to test the initial response of your system under load or identify any bottlenecks or performance issues during the first few seconds of a user's interaction. If you have any questions or need further clarification on this topic, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on Gatling and performance testing. We'll see you in the next video.